Hi guys, I don't know which is more embarrassing, the fact that Lee Anderson can't host a show which is seeing its ratings collapse, or the fact that GB News is paying him £100,000 to do it. Now Lee has a weird segment where a friend of his, sometimes a fellow Tory, which I believe is in breach of Ofcom rules, is interviewed next to him, while somebody who he disagrees with politically is made sit on the other side of the studio like some unwashed heathen. Anyway, the circles of cringe brought us to someone I have great respect for, anti-Brexit protester Steve Bray, who gets on the nerves of liars, crooks and charlatans. Here's what Tory MP Mark Francois, one of Lee's guests, had to say about Steve.
I want to move on a little bit now to public nuisances, protests, the Public Order Act. We have a chap outside Parliament, and I know you've had a few run-ins with this Stop Brexit, Steve, and I know he was probably loitering around when back in the day when Vince was in Parliament. This is a man who I think has gone too far. He tends to hang around on Whitehall. He harasses Tory MPs on a regular basis. Yeah, and you've faced the brunt of it on several occasions. We're talking about Steve Bray, the Stop Brexit, Steve. I think what we're going to do is actually just watch a clip from where he accosted me yesterday on Whitehall.
You are liars, cheats, charlatans and fraudsters.
What's that?
Mr Anderson.
What is that?
That's Sylvia. Right, you got a problem with Sylvia?
No.
Do you want to beat her up?
No.
Oh, good. You want to beat everyone else up?
Anyway.
What's this about your second job with GB News? I won't take a second job. Here you go, I'll take a first job. 100,000.
So, Mark, you saw the clip. You saw him in action. It's not the first time. What should we do with this man?
This is accosted. This is harassment. This is harassment in Lee Anderson's mind. Oh my God. It was banter. A bit of banter between you and Steve Bray. Like, Lee Anderson was even laughing in the clip. How was he harassed? How was he accosted? Like, just think about it for a moment. This is Lee Anderson's show. This is not Lee Anderson brought on to Sky News or some other thing. And he's shown this clip and he has to respond to it. Lee Anderson, I presume, has some sort of control over what is included and what is not included, or who the guests are or who they're not. So Lee Anderson signed off on this clip. Now there are hundreds, probably thousands of interactions between Lee Anderson and Steve Bray and other Tories and Steve Bray. And this is the best they could come up with. Once again, this is Lee Anderson deciding the clip. And this is the worst he could think of? Pathetic. Really. And I'm not because I'm on the side of Steve Bray, but Lee Anderson in the clip himself was laughing. Now it's interesting also that he said that, well, you don't even have a first job or whatever to Steve Bray. Steve Bray is self-employed. But the problem here is second jobs. Lee Anderson is earning more doing this crap show than he does as an MP. He earns about £100,000, I believe, on this show for GB News. He earns probably between £84,000 and £86,000 as an MP. So where do you think his priorities are? But Steve Bray is the problem.
Well, look, on the one hand, we don't want to live in Putin's Russia. We believe in, the right to democratic protest.
Yeah.
But this goes way beyond that. This is a man who, pursues people down the road. He's extremely rude. He thrusts a camera in their face.
Rude. He disagrees with you. That's now rude. You can't disagree with people. He puts a camera in your face. Yes, because he's interviewing people on the street. Maybe they don't like being interviewed. They don't like being asked questions. But he sees it as his way of dealing with a problem, a massive problem. And that is that MPs and ministers and the Prime Minister are not being held to account in Parliament. Now, I don't want to put words in Steve Bray's mouth. He can do that himself. But I believe that's what his protest is. Part of it is about. Of course, the main protest is about Brexit. But when he's challenging these MPs on the street about corruption, about cronyism, about lying, he does it, I believe, because he sees Parliament not doing it. Like, the main opposition party is afraid, in many cases, not always, but sometimes is afraid to call these Tories out on their lies. Now, Parliament doesn't allow you to call these people liars. So I imagine people like Steve say, well, what else can we do? We have to challenge them on the street. Now, they want to crack down on that. They want to ban us from protesting in this way, but pretend that, well, we don't want to live in Putin's Russia. Yes, you want to live in something like Putin's Russia, where people are not allowed to challenge ministers or Tories in particular on the street.
He's trying to get a rise out of you, isn't he? That's what because he thinks that would make, for a good video clip. I mean, you are more than a match for him. I mean, your answer yesterday to him about, second jobs, well, you haven't even got a first one, I thought was great.
Oh my God, this is so horrible to watch. It was great. It was pathetic. Like, the problem here is that MPs have second jobs. They're not focusing on their main job, that is to represent their constituents. Why is Lee Anderson hosting a TV show? Why isn't he representing his constituents?
But, so normally you win these contests hands down, but the question is, should he be doing it in the first place? And I think he crosses a line between democratic protest on the one hand and intimidation and harassment on another.
Harassment, intimidation. Lee Anderson was laughing in the frigging clip. In what way was Lee Anderson harassed? In what way was he intimidated? Now, Steve doesn't go round to Lee Anderson's house and stand outside his house and protest. Lee Anderson was protested against in the street outside his job, around the Parliament buildings. Steve Bray, as far as I know, has never gone to an MP's house or challenged, his family while they're out shopping or something like that. This is not harassment. This is not intimidation. Once again, anyone who says it was intimidation, look at the clip.
And on a light-hearted note, I understand you've tried to get him on the show in the past.
Yeah.
Well, if he ever has the nerve to take you up on it, let me know, and I'll come into the studio and stand behind him with a megaphone and shout all over him and see whether he likes it. I'll give him a bit of his own medicine.
Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Does Mark Francois not understand that Steve Bray is not an MP? He has no power. Mark Francois has infinitely more power than Steve Bray has. Steve Bray is challenging you on the street because that's all he has. He has almost no power. He has some support, and rightly so, but in regards to political power, it's zero. So the idea that you would come around and shout in his face or shout behind him or whatever, what would that achieve? That would be punching down. Look at me, I'm in power. My political party is in government, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to disrupt somebody who was protesting before to give them a taste of their own medicine. Once again, these people don't understand what protesting is, and they don't seem to understand what an MP is supposed to do. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.